Let us start with the unit number 2. It is impulse water turbine of turbo machines. We have seen impact of jet in unit number 1, where we have applied the impulse momentum principle or Newton's second law of motion to different cases that we have seen for flat plate or inclined flat plate, similarly the curved plate, and we have come to a conclusion that the curved plate is superior than the flat plate. Now, continuing to the same what we have studied in unit number 1, okay, that is the impact of jet. The last case, if we see that we have arrived at a curved plate, we are getting near about 100% efficiency for a curved plate. So, considering the same curved plate, we are going to form the vane, or you can say the bucket for a turbine, okay, where your water is going to strike. Now, in impulse water turbine, what we are going to see? In this unit, we are going to see the introduction to a hydropower plant. Basically, we are dealing with the hydraulic turbines, okay. Now, so we should see the layout of hydropower plant, then classification of hydraulic turbines, which are the different types of hydraulic turbines, construction, principle of working of hydraulic turbines, velocity diagrams and their analysis, okay, as we have seen the velocity diagrams in impact of jet also. So same velocity diagrams we will continue here, okay, and the design aspects of especially the impulse water turbine, that is nothing but the Pelton turbine, which is the special case for a impulse water turbine, and multi-jet Pelton wheel. What do you mean by multi-jet for a Pelton wheel? Okay. So in short, we are going to see this unit number 2 is a short compared to unit number 3, which is nothing but reaction turbine. So basically while looking at the classification for the turbines, we have seen there are basically it is classified based on the action of water. It is classified as impulse turbine and reaction turbine. So basically we are going to see impulse turbine now. What is the difference between impulse and reaction? That will be also clear, okay, as we move further from unit number 2 to 3. So let us see the definition of the turbine. Turbines are defined as the hydraulic machines, as we know, which convert hydraulic energy into mechanical energy. That we all know that in turbines the water energy or hydraulic energy is converted into mechanical energy. That is the rotation of the shaft, and this mechanical energy is used in running an electric generator which is directly coupled to the shaft of the turbine. Thus the mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. The electric power which is obtained from the hydraulic energy is known as hydroelectric power, which is obtained from the hydropower plant. At present, the generation of hydroelectric power is the cheapest as compared to the power generated by other sources such as oil, coal, because you know that burning the coal requires the resource as a coal, and which is very costly. Oil is very costly. We have to import oil. That's why these are the costly we can say power generating sources. While water, it is freely available, okay, in nature, and we can construct a dam. Only the construction of dam cost is there, and but it is lifetime, okay. And as far as water is available, you can use it anytime for producing the electricity. So let us see the general layout of a hydroelectric power plant. Now if you see in this diagram, this is a dam, okay. In this, if you see, there is a headrace, okay. Headrace is nothing but the level of water, okay, upper level of water inside the dam, and then there is a pipe coming out of the dam, and this pipe is called as a penstock, okay. This pipe is called as a penstock. When water is coming from the base of the dam through this pipe or penstock, when it flows into the penstock, then it comes at the outlet of the pipe, that is called as a nozzle. Okay, so there is a nozzle provided at the outlet of the penstock. Why this nozzle is provided? Because we want to increase the velocity of this water so that the kinetic energy is available to hit it to the bucket. Okay, so this is the bucket, or you can say vane. Okay, curved vane, which is attached to a you can say this is a wheel, turbine wheel, and there are so many buckets mounted on the turbine wheel, and the water coming out of the nozzle is hitting the bucket, and the turbine rotates. And this is a shaft. Okay, this is a common shaft for a turbine and generator. The same shaft is connected further to the generator, and then this water is coming to the tail race level, or you can say this is nothing but the level of water inside this tail race. Okay, so this is head race level and this is the tail race level. The difference between this head race level and tail race level is called as a gross head. Remember, this is a gross head. So what is the head available for us to produce the power? The head available is nothing but difference between head race and tail race, that is the gross head. But whether we are going to consider this gross head for calculation, okay, that we will see further, because when water flows into the penstock, there is a friction. Okay, there is a friction. We have seen in fluid mechanics, that is the friction loss in the pipe given by HF is equal to 4FLV square upon 2GD. So this is a pipe, and that's why there is a frictional loss, and that is given by the Darcy-Weisbach equation, 4FLV square by 2GD. Hence the net head is nothing but the gross head minus this friction loss head, or HF, and then we are going to consider that net head. Okay, here potential energy. Okay, potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. And that kinetic energy is going to be utilized for heating the bucket to produce the power. So now let us see what are the different definitions of heads and efficiency of a turbine. Now gross head, we have seen the difference between head race level and tail race level when no water is flowing is known as gross head. It is denoted by Hg. Net head, it is also called effective head, and we have seen that it is defined as the head available at the inlet of the turbine when water is flowing from the head race to the turbine. A loss of head due to friction between water and penstock occurs. Because of this loss of head, okay, the net head is coming as a gross head minus loss of head as its HF. Okay, there are other losses also due to bend, pipe fitting, which are minor losses, but they are very small compared to this friction loss. That's why they are neglected. Hence Hg we know gross head, HF we can calculate as 4FLV square by 2GD, where L is the length of penstock, D is the diameter of the penstock, okay, F is coefficient of friction, and V is the velocity of fluid through that penstock. So by this formula you can calculate Hg and then net head. Next, efficiencies of a turbine. To understand efficiencies, you should understand which are the what is the input and what is the output for a turbine. So if you see this diagram carefully, initially the water, okay, which is coming inside the penstock, okay, when it is coming inside the penstock and flowing through at the outlet of the nozzle, potential energy is converted to kinetic energy. Then the energy available, okay, at the end of the nozzle is nothing but the input energy to this bucket, okay, or to the wheel. So input energy is nothing but your kinetic energy, okay, or you can also calculate it as a rho GQH, that is the input power to the turbine. Okay, so this is the input power. Okay, so there are three powers like this. First one is the input power, then second one is the runner power. Runner power is nothing but this is the input power, rho GQH. Runner power is nothing but what is the power, what is the work done on the bucket, that is nothing but the runner power, and that runner power is calculated by your impact of jet formula, force into velocity, that we know. So input power, runner power, and lastly when this bucket is rotating, the shaft is rotating and you are getting the output power, that is called as the shaft power. So there are three powers. One is input power, then water power or runner power, and then last one is the shaft power. So input power is also called the water power, then runner power and shaft power. Three powers are important. Between input power and runner power, the efficiency which is coming into picture, that is called as the hydraulic efficiency. And between runner power and shaft power, the efficiency which is coming into picture, that is called as a mechanical efficiency. And the output power, that is shaft power upon input power, that is called as the overall efficiency. How they are coming, that we will see here. First the hydraulic efficiency, then mechanical efficiency, one more efficiency there, volumetric efficiency and overall efficiency. What do you mean by hydraulic efficiency? As I have told you that there are two types of powers, three types of powers basically. First one is the input power or water power, it is also called, then runner power and shaft power. In between input power and runner power, the efficiency which is coming, that is called as a hydraulic efficiency. So it is defined as a ratio of runner power to the water power. How will you calculate the runner power? Runner power you are calculating by using the Newton's second law of motion, that is the force into velocity u. So force is calculated by W. W is nothing but rho q, you can say rho q Vw1 plus minus Vw2 into u, or mass into rate or rate of change of momentum is nothing but force multiplied by u upon 1000. That is the runner power, okay, which is the bucket is moving because of this heating of the water to the bucket. So that is called as a runner power. Then water power, I have told you, it is nothing but rho gqh. So water power is rho gqh upon 1000 kilowatt. So runner power upon water power will give you hydraulic efficiency. Then there is a mechanical efficiency. Mechanical efficiency, you remember, it is always associated with the shaft. Mechanical efficiency is nothing but a friction. It is the efficiency occurring because of friction. Whenever there is a friction, there is mechanical efficiency. So the power delivered by the water to the runner of the turbine is transmitted to the shaft of the turbine. Due to mechanical losses or friction, the power available at the shaft of the turbine is less than the power delivered to the runner of the turbine. And the ratio of this power available at the shaft, that is shaft power to the runner power, is defined as the mechanical efficiency. So remember, mechanical efficiency is nothing but shaft power upon runner power. And last, volumetric efficiency. Volumetric efficiency, it is the when water is striking to the bucket, some of the water gets splashed, okay, without hitting the bucket. So that is called as a leakage of water. And because of that, the actual water which is hitting to the bucket is less, okay, than the theoretical water which is supplied. So it is nothing but volumetric loss or leakage, or you can say the discharge loss. Okay, so volumetric efficiency is volume of water actually striking the runner upon volume of water supplied to the turbines. Many times this is very small. Volumetric loss is very small, leakage is very small, hence it is near about 90 to 95%. So most of the times volumetric efficiency is also not taken into consideration. So only mechanical efficiency and hydraulic efficiency are taken into consideration. So overall efficiency, I have told you that three powers are there: input power or water power, runner power and shaft power. So output is shaft power and input is input power or water power. So overall efficiency is nothing but output upon input. Output is shaft power and input is water power. So shaft power upon water power is nothing but your overall efficiency. In between them there is a runner power. So if you multiply and divide by runner power, you will get shaft power upon runner power into runner power upon water power. But shaft power upon runner power, it is mechanical efficiency, and runner power upon water power, it is hydraulic efficiency. Hence the overall efficiency is given as the product of mechanical efficiency and hydraulic efficiency. Classification of hydraulic turbines. The hydraulic turbines are classified according to the type of energy available at the inlet of the turbine, direction of the flow through the vanes, head at the turbine, inlet of the turbine, specific speed of the turbine. So there are many terms which are involved in the classification. So let us see in short how the classification is done. So first classification is according to the type of energy at inlet, impulse turbine or reaction turbine, that we are going to see in detail further. According to the direction of flow through the runner, it may be the water may come in tangential direction, as we have seen in the first unit. It may come in axial direction, it may come in radial direction, or it may come in mixed flow direction. Okay, so depending upon that there is a classification: tangential, radial, axial or mixed flow. According to the head at the inlet of the turbine, high head turbine, medium head turbine, low head turbine. So some dams are constructed at a very high height, some are constructed at a low height. So depending upon that there is a classification. Then according to the specific speed of the turbine, that we will see in the detail, but for the time being it is low specific speed, medium specific speed and high specific speed. So in detail we will see the hydraulic turbine in the next lecture. Okay, Pelton turbine.